my heart sings and tumbles around. Alabama. Mommy, I'm a-coming. I'm sorry if I made you wait. Mommy, I'm a-coming. Even if I'm not late. Ho, 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 mommy. I'd walk a million miles for one of your smiles, fucking.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Jimmy and Eggy Couch Review. And folks, listen, I know this is usually a family-friendly show. We like to talk about stuff that appeals exclusively to children. Drake and Josh, anime, Cat in the Hat, libertarianism. It's very child-based here, but today, it's not going to be that way, Eggy. This might be an X-rated episode of Jimmy and Eggy Couch. So all you kids out there, if you got small children at home, hey, if you're a Zoomer in general, this will probably be too much for you. But of course, I am Jimmy, joined as always by Mr. Eggy.
That's right, Mr. Liquid Sky himself. That's how I feel, because every time I wake up, I go right for the liquid, and I start looking in the sky because I'm falling down to the ground.
You feel like you're flying once you take that liquid. Somebody did pay us $100 to watch a classic sci-fi film called Liquid Sky, and Eggy, I think over the course of this movie, we will answer another question that has been on the top of mind of every philosopher in history. Eggy, you might be the only man I've ever met who can answer this question.
I've heard that one before in varying levels of acceptability, but please, let me know.
What is better, sex or heroin?
Woo, well, you know, the way that I do it, heroin.
Well, that's very much from what I read. I've never seen this movie, but I read a brief synopsis, and I think that might be one of the themes. So can you elaborate? Because I've only had one, unfortunately, and not the other. Is heroin really that sweet, sweet liquid sky?
Well, liquid warmth, I think, is what you hear a lot of. So maybe if you live in, like, Antarctica, it might really be a different kind of sky. But, you know, you ever get this feeling like maybe you're at the county fair and your loving mother picks you up. You're like 3 years old. She picks you up and brings her arms around you and gives you this hug, and you smell
like this
motherly
big
smell
hug from my loving son.
And you know, you just feel so loved, and you feel so complete in a way that you know, for me, if we're talking versus sex, you know, basically it's like fast food for me. You know, it's like I show up, I honk my horn a couple times, and I'm out of there. So I mean, really, it is a complete love that nothing else could ever come close to, especially not humanity, especially not interpersonal relationships.
If somebody feels that way, how are you not just on heroin every single day, Eggy? It must take incredible restraint to not just go grab some if it's better than your mother's embrace as a child.
Well, what happens is you either have a Percocet plug or you end up on the streets, you get served fentanyl, and then you die instantly. The thing of it is, it's called diminishing returns. I learned about it from World of Warcraft when I was a child. So like if you stun somebody in World of Warcraft, you can't just always stun them for the same amount of time. So once you're taking Percocet or intravenous heroin, you know, you're doing this much and you're getting this effect, but then you're doing this much and you're getting less and less.
Right.
So you got to go stronger until you start overdosing, and then you can't start getting the feeling without overdosing. It's like it comes as part of the package. So a lot of people, that's why they die.
Well, I think the main thing here is the chemical called endorphin in your brain, and that's the connection. Sex unleashes it, and so does heroin, and evidently your first heroin dose unleashes the most, and then maybe you only have so much endorphins in your brain total, and if you run out, no amount of heroin or sex will help you. But do you think that sex has the same non-returning value, or is that a benefit it has over heroin?
Well, you know, I'm gonna tell you like this because it is an adults episode.
That's right. No kids fucking allowed.
You gotta pace. You know, you can't just be dating for 1 week and all of a sudden you're bringing out the ceiling suspension and the chains and the whips. It's like if you burn out too fast, and I think it's the same thing. I guess heroin doesn't really work that way, but it did for me actually. The first time I actually ever did heroin, I got really sick and I was vomiting all over the place.
What?
I took too much, so it's you get overwhelmed. You're very nauseous. You're very like the room is spinning. You get very sick.
Yeah, no blowjob ever made me nauseous and sick, so I might have to go lean towards sex on this one.
You know, I mean, I'm not trying to get too weird here.
Maybe
but
some fishy pussies have made people nauseous in the past.
All I'm saying is the first time that I strapped a woman to a ceiling suspension and I was wearing the leather suit or whatever, it was like it kind of took my brain to like a whole other level to where it was like I almost did feel like I was gonna pass out.
Wow.
So
you should have done that on heroin. It would have been double good.
Well, the thing is that the woman, she was an ex-heroin addict, so I didn't want to, include that. We did cocaine instead.
Good,
so
much better. Well, is that it then for the comparison? You're saying going into the movie, you're team heroin, but we're going to watch this and see maybe we'll learn sex is better.
Well, here's what I think. Really, there's a lot of drugs out there that can get you to this like blackout level. My personal favorite is what's in this SpongeBob cup. That's how I roll. It's more of a slow killer versus the other stuff, and I'm talking about women in that as well. I'm gonna say I think you reach higher highs with heroin. It's just you can't really compete. I don't think there's anything out there, so I'm gonna see if this movie drives that point home for me.
Okay.
Well, if we want to make an immediate heroin comparison, sitting in a room and just staring at a completely still wall on heroin, the still wall will look like that, like it's pulling back away from you. Is that fucking aliens?
That might be a UFO saucer, Aggie. The next 48-hour film, it should just be like the 5 minutes of shit like this, just to say fuck you to those people.
I want to get your elevated opinion here.
Okay.
So we're listening to this. This sounds like a 1969 jam session. Did the music for this particular portion here. If you had to choose one kind of music that was always going to be in the start of your film, would you prefer this sort of disjointed, psychedelic chiptune style, or do you prefer the tubey style where it's the booming bass and drums to start off?
Like every black movie we've ever seen? Yeah, I probably like the trippy of this a little bit more than generic bass drop. I hope they didn't have to pay to get in here.
When you're on every drug at once, this is like the most incredible thing ever. I feel like Marty McFly. This is the sound you've been looking for.
You weren't ready for it, but your kids are going to love it. Are you getting triggered, Aggie? When you see that, do you want to grab some flour and just go to town?
Well, when it comes to white powders, I've outdone cocaine versus heroin, so...
Is that one better than heroin?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Coke's better than heroin. You just said it's better than sex.
I think probably the best I've ever felt in my life was on a combination of cocaine and alcohol while also gambling.
The three best highs you could have.
White people when there's potato salad at the picnic.
That's my kind of dancing.
Heroin users, they used to be really with it and cool. Now they're all bent over in like 90-degree angles at the corner and intersections.
Again, this is the X-rated No Kids Allowed episode of... Not in the stairwell, man. Oh. Those are some hard slabs. Did you get whiskey dick from heroin, Aggie?
Well, here's the thing for me with certain drugs. If the drug that I'm taking is more exhilarating than sex, like I'll lose my sex drive completely. So
yeah, who needs it at that point? You got the best endorphins blasting already.
So you might suppose that it's like, oh, you took this, now your body's suffering from an effect that makes you impotent. But in my experience, that's not what it is. It's like you're already on a level higher than what sex could ever be. So it's like your body's like, hey, why am I wasting any time with that shit? I'm trying to get more of that, what you're already on.
You know what? I think I did read that the aliens are invisible, so that might explain a little bit of what's going on here. That's why they're seeing things without being seen. Oh, no. No.
I better see some Boomer Tom Selleck cock, otherwise this isn't really worth it.
No, the aliens are gonna kill him, hopefully. I think the aliens are harvesting the endorphins in your brain that come when you have sex, and that's why they're killing people when they're high and when they're fucking.
So this is literally Adrenochrome, the 1970s version?
Yeah, exactly. So Monsters, Inc. actually ripped off this movie. She wants to fuck the old man's corpse.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I guess dying's not so bad after all.
What better funeral could you ask for than this? I'm not gonna lie. There's not two scantily clad, drug-addicted prostitutes trying to kill each other on top of my tinfoil-covered body after I die from jizzing, then I don't even know if I want to live anymore, to be honest.
What are we gonna do with this body?
Don't worry about the body.
And they got over their knife fight pretty quick.
You sure this has something?
I'd say it's pretty accurate junkie behavior, like you're ready to kill, and then 5 seconds later you're fantasizing about some international dream travel that's going to fix all the problems in your life. Was this the average 1970s romantic experience? Just a lot of drugs and rape?
In New York City. Do these people have jobs?
Seems to me that
Where are they getting money for this apartment and all the drugs?
If the New York City of the 1970s is anything like the New York City of the 2020s, they have rich family members just bankrolling everything they ever want to do. It'd be fucked up to work so hard to become like a billionaire business mogul and your children are a bunch of drug addicts just hanging out in clubs until like 7 a.m. every day.
Burning your money in the most expensive, tiniest apartments on the planet. I'd like to audition for the movie. Okay, so the role, you get raped 7 times, and then aliens stab you in the brain. You get fucked and kissed by this man who's 30 years older than you.
If we ever do E.T. 2, and I'm not talking about the angry video game nerd movie,
Whoa!
they should have E.T. come in here looking for drugs. That'd make it a better movie, I think.
Filthy Frank has a video you're gonna fucking love, Aggie. You've not seen that?
I probably haven't watched Filthy Frank since 2013, I think.
That's probably when this video came out. But what you just pitched, he's literally done word for word. And it's very good.
close, 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 close.
Nothing.
Did Glink edit this?
This would be contrived probably anything past like 2003, but I think for the period, like it's and with everything else around it, it's working still.
Wait, cinema goers probably have not experienced anything like this before. Mostly because why would you make something like this?
Is this the kind of method acting I should employ in future films where I just shit talk my fellow actor until we start having physical combat and then tell them to switch the camera on?
If I recall, you're the one who slaps women in the face for movies.
Sabotaging my masterpiece!
Greg, I can't remember where or when the last time I felt happiness.
Did we fuck up that movie? Should it be after you slap her? Should she have just beat the shit out of you? And that's how Taste of Defeat should have ended. She just slaps you back and then you're on the floor just getting pounded and we actually have her physically punching as hard as she can for the movie to make it real. Bloody nose Aggie runs out crying, ends up homeless anyway. Well, Aggie, Joseph Campbell once said there's only 6 types of narratives out there, and one of them is the adrenochrome narrative, and that's essentially what this movie and Monsters, Inc. and so many others are. We joke around a lot about it, and who knows if it's actually true. It's more just something fun to talk about, but for the sake of understanding the plot of this film, would you like to explain to people what an adrenochrome story is?
Well, I just want to say before I do that, I never realized that it was quite as prevalent. Maybe I didn't get into a lot of film until just in these last few years. I watched this and that here and there throughout my life, but I never really took an interest in film until these last handful of years. So it seems a little surprising maybe that this is such a prevalent narrative, but so the idea of the film is basically aliens come in to survey, I guess this is late 70s New York, perhaps, maybe early 80s, and they have a hunger for opiates. So you would think they would have a buffet in New York without having to get in anybody's business, especially in this time frame. But they happen to just dial in on rich junkies and like an art scene and their sexual escapades. Come to find that this whatever similar molecule that I don't think ever really has a particular name ascribed to it hits the same receptors in your brain as opiates, and it's produced during orgasm. So the aliens, they got their heat map out. They're looking around for, hey, where's the goods at? And they see some orgasming going on, and they say, oh, don't mind if I do. They start like expanding it into some molecule for them to take onto their vessel. Mm-hmm. And at first, this is done by like receiving it through like glass shard that gets shot into people's heads, which then disappears. That's like the boomerang maybe, or the energy boomerang. And then later on, they're just straight up like vacuuming up their entire beings after they orgasm. Mm-hmm. They're turning them into, it looks like that Nickelodeon show, I forget, like the girl who turned into aluminum goo and would like go through the floor.
Oh my God.
Alex Jett or something it was.
I don't know about that one. That might have been before my time. In case you're lost, here's what an adrenochrome narrative is. Something in your brain only is there during a very specific instance, and there's a non-human entity that wants to farm it and suck it out of us. Of course, Monsters, Inc. is the story of, hey, these kids get scared and it creates energy that we can suck up and use in the monster world. And then at the end, they learn that children's laughter is even more powerful. Good lesson to learn. This movie, of course, like Eggy's saying, that they want the chemical elements that happen in the brain when you're doing heroin and opiates. And what I like about this is that it implies, and to answer the question we started this video with, what's better, heroin or sex? The movie implies that the natural human chemical compounds in the brain are better and more powerful than the ones created artificially through human-made drugs. And while I like that narrative of natural humanity being better than this artificial shit, I think in reality it's the exact opposite. I mean, that's how you answered the question, was heroin, you can't even compare sex to it. So did they get this wrong? Should the aliens have been more intrigued by the chemicals of drugs?
I think also there could be a nature versus nurture argument to be made here. I think back in the day, let's say like in the year 1500, if you're a knight walking around and you're on your horse or whatever, and a woman shows you some of her ankle, you're probably about to pass out right then and there. Mm-hmm. So maybe back in those days, that first good poontang after many years of marriage and courtship, and you've never even seen a shoulder in your life, that was probably going crazy back then. But
so we're just so numb to it today because you can't walk outside without seeing a naked woman pretty much. But maybe back then it was such an unexpected event that it was like snorting up some good coke maybe.
Yeah, and back then they're treating like their toothache by like doing heroin and cocaine, so they're on like a fucking heroin cocaine speedball just to like, because their thumb hurts or something, and then they get their mind blown by sex. So I mean, nowadays I'm sure there's a lot of adulteration that's done to these drugs. It's so profitable in the black market. But maybe the women that I've got to experience this beautiful life with were just below average also, so maybe mileage may vary in that respect.
You're not getting Anne Carlisle in bed to really blow your mind. What do you think of the movie itself, Eggy, now that we've solved the question of what's better between the two, and obviously it's going to be Heroin, sorry movie. Did you like this film? What are you going to give it on Letterboxd? Well,
coming into it, it felt very B movie. It kind of felt a little cheap, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't really blowing me away. But what I can say about it is that the psychedelic components, as dated as they might be, I really did enjoy them. I felt like when they were landing very well, and I feel like you would almost have to have had some experiences with psychoactive substances to really frame it the way that they did, and as accurately and truthfully as they did.
Yeah, and it's usually pretty hack when a critic says, oh, you'd have to be high to really like this movie. But, I'm going to risk being hack. I think this movie, maybe if we were intoxicated in some way, it would have impacted differently. Not that it was boring as presented, but I think we were not necessarily on the exact same wavelength as the filmmakers, if you catch my drift.
Outside of the psychedelic portions, I mean, there is a through point with everything that's going on, which we've touched on, the aliens harvesting chemicals from humans and like disappearing them essentially, or killing them in the process. And it's fine, you know, like it's not nonsensical, it's as sensible as it can be. The acting is very campy, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. Sometimes I enjoyed it maybe a little more for the campy acting and the presentation, the delivery, and sometimes it definitely might have taken me out of the film when it just was not landing very professionally speaking, in my opinion. But I have to say, I mean, it was an enjoyable enough watch. When it was good, I really enjoyed it. And when it wasn't good, it was tolerable enough to get me to the next part that was more enjoyable, I think.
Even the most boring parts have at least costumes and makeup and some crazy camera effects with the colors shifting. So I can't say it was boring either, even if it was way too long. And even if it is the same character getting raped 7 times, like, this is a hard movie to recommend to anybody. Like, hey, do you want to watch this druggie get raped over and over again, and then aliens kill the rapist, and she thinks that her pussy, like, made them disappear?
Yeah, it's definitely a unique picture.
I was about to say, unique is the word, and a little bit edgy, if not very edgy for the time. So I'm all for it. I think I have a mostly positive feeling towards the movie, like leaning 3.5 out of 5.
I could see giving it a 3.5. It seems, like I said, some of the campiness is a detriment, but I think if you can at least understand the perspective that the filmmakers were going for, maybe if you can't quite ride at the same speed as them, if you get the idea and the gist and the atmosphere, I think you'll be able to definitely get some enjoyment out of the film.
Now, here's the real reason why this episode is adults only and XXX rated. Because not only are we going to watch this movie and then talk about these ideas, we need to experience them. So, Aggie, I do have some heroin ready and some anal lube condoms, and we're going to do both and really tell people which is better. Are you ready?
If the heroin's strong enough, you know what? I can't remember it, so... I think I got my jobs in Hollywood to begin with. It is what it is.
Yeah, if you would like to pay us $100 to do a couch review of heroin,
keep me out of Harvey Weinstein's jail cell conjugal visit, please. I would appreciate it.
Here's the P.O. box of where you can send the heroin to and the anal lube. Now, if you want to tell us what to review next on the couch or an Is It Keen review, it's simianjimmybusiness@gmail.com. Pitch your idea. It's only $100. Aggie, was this another successful episode? Did we solve an internet debate once and for all that everybody should be doing heroin instead of fucking bitches?
Hey, I don't know if we even need to say it because the drug epidemic's at an all-time high, sex is at an all-time low. I think it's a natural thing that people are figuring out, but
just
if you haven't got the picture yet, yeah. And not that they say that car fentanyl could take an elephant down with 1 gram or one little speck. So think about it.
Better to fuck an elephant than to do fentanyl.
That's right. Stay safe, kids. I mean, adults. Stay safe. Adults who are watching this have unprotected and numerous amounts of sex. No drugs.
Next to the Wings of Redemption framed